Commercial farms use synthetic lab chemicals to force roots out of plant cuttings. But nature's original rooting juice was discovered over a century ago in the exact same tree we use to make aspirin. You'll discover which of 7 free biological agents, from willow bark to raw potatoes, forces explosive 14-day root growth. Some old-school growers swear by licking their cuttings to trigger roots, but science shows a massive flaw in that ancient trick. And there's a reason applying rooting liquid to the wrong end of your cutting will permanently paralyze it. We'll get to that. To measure what actually works, we need a baseline. Day 1. We drop cuttings into plain tap water. Soft, green stems, like mint or basil, usually root just fine on their own. But hard, woody stems, magically sprouting tiny white bumps, that is a different story. Left alone, woody cuttings struggle to survive the 2 weeks it takes to push out new roots. We are giving every hack 14 days to beat this plain water tree. Let's kill a stubborn rumor first. For decades, old-school growers have licked the bottom of their plant stems before sticking them in dirt. The logic? Human spit contains proteins that break down bacteria. That part is true. But to make a stem grow a root, you need a very specific chemical trigger. Saliva completely lacks the chemical signals needed to morph stem cells into root cells. The spit method is a total myth. You're just wasting weeks waiting for roots that will never come. Multiplying plants by taking cuttings is a race against rot. If you put an open plant wound in water, a lethal, stem-melting fungal disease called damping off can take over overnight. Cinnamon powder is a cheap baking ingredient, but it acts as a natural chemical that destroys mold. Rolling the wet stem in cinnamon creates a shield. It stops the damping off disease cold. But cinnamon powder washes off easily in water, and it doesn't feed the plant. That is where honey comes in. While pure honey does not contain root-growing chemicals, it is extremely sticky and naturally kills bacteria. If you coat the cut stem in honey first, it acts as a natural glue for the cinnamon. It seals the wound so the rot cannot get in. But honey does something else just as critical. A cutting with no roots cannot pull food from the soil. It is starving. Honey is packed with raw sugars. Coating the stem is like packing a granola bar for the cutting to eat before it can feed itself with roots. Now we need the actual triggers. Plants naturally manufacture their own root signaling hormone. It acts like a chemical text message, telling the stem to start building roots. Commercial rooting powders rely on synthetic, lab-made chemicals because they last longer on store shelves. But you can harvest the real thing in your kitchen. When lentils wake up and start growing, they generate a massive surge of natural growth hormones. By thoroughly crushing a handful of sprouted lentils in a blender into a milky hormone soup and diluting it with water, 1 part lentil juice to 10 parts plain water, you extract massive amounts of biological hormones. You transfer the explosive energy of a seed directly to your cutting. Even with hormones, a cutting will die if it dries out while you're at work. Jamming a plant stem straight into a raw potato solves this completely. A potato is a thick underground stem full of water and fuel. It acts as a tiny, sealed, humid environment, a personal, starchy greenhouse for a single stem. The cutting literally cannot dry out. And as it sits inside, it taps into the potato starch, getting a slow drip of survival energy while it builds its new root system. But the ultimate biological hack comes from the willow tree. Willow branches are naturally packed with a potent rooting hormone and a defensive chemical that acts like an immune booster. To make this free rooting juice, fill a large jar with 1 part finely chopped young willow twigs and completely steep them overnight in 2 parts boiling water. As Preparedness Mama puts it, Willow rooting hormone will help your cuttings fight off harmful bacteria and fungal infections, giving them a better chance to survive. If freeing yourself from external supply chains is why you garden, we build zero-waste systems like this every week. By day 14, the plain water control still has bare, woody stems. The potato kept its cutting perfectly moist. The lentil water forced strong roots. But the willow water? The day 14 reveal shows explosive roots covering the stem. University tests prove this homemade willow tea forces successful root growth on almost every single soft cutting it touches. Nearly 100% success. There is one crucial warning. Because this growth hormone acts like a text message prioritizing roots, it actively suppresses leaves. If you apply any of these hacks to the wrong end of your stem, you will permanently paralyze the top of your plant. Always respect gravity and only apply your hormones to the bottom cut of the stem. Here is the wild part. The exact same defensive chemical in willow bark that forces plant roots to grow is what humans commercialized into aspirin back in 1899. Now that you have explosive root growth, you need to feed them. You can do that for free using zero-cost fermented plant juice. Raw potatoes and willow bark replace synthetic chemicals by flooding stubborn cuttings with natural auxins that force explosive root growth in 14 days. If you liked this, 5 ancient seed-saving hacks that guarantee a massive harvest. That's the next one.